Bellator 271, Cyborg versus Kavanagh, full card prediction with 11 fights on the entire fight. Cris Cyborg is in the main event, gonna be fighting a 7-4 fighter in Sinead Kavanagh from Ireland in a 5-round featherweight main event for the belt. You probably know what my prediction is going to be there, if I'll be quite honest. We got Tyrell Fortune, Linton, Vassell in the co-main, the heavyweight division. Pico coming back to fight undefeated prospect Justin Gonzales in the featherweight division. Arlene Blencowe fighting Pam Sorenson in the featherweight division. Mowry, Rakim Cleveland is going to be a really good fight in the heavyweight division. And then we go in the prelims where we got Bruna, Desiree, Yanez, grappler versus striker. Faraldo, Robert Turnquest, very solid fight right there. In the welterweight division, Cody and Colton Hamm, this is going to be a really solid fight. Again, in the featherweight division, a lot of featherweight fights on the card. Valerie Loureda coming back to fight Taylor Turner, not the best record. In the flyweight division, Newman, Shane O'Shea, middleweight. And then Mahmoud Fawi, Sebie, and Ethan Hughes in the welterweight division. Those are the fights we do have for y'all right here for Bellator 271. Cannot wait for the main event because I want to see violence. Cannot wait for the heavyweight fight there. Cannot wait for Pico, Justin Gonzales, Faraldo, Robert Turnquest, Cody Colton Hamm. There's a lot of fights I'm very, very much looking forward to, as well as the co-main, of course. But for right now, we're going to go on and do our prediction for the welterweight division fight right here. Mahmoud Fawi Sebie versus Ethan Hughes in the welterweight division. And I'm going to be quite honest with you, I'm very, very confident in Mahmoud Fawi Sebie, even though, yeah, he's going to be older, 29 years old, but he's in the prime of his MMA career. Ethan Hughes has a lot of time to improve his MMA skills. He's also 2-0, a very, very solid prospect in his own right. First round submission win and a knockout win, as well as 5 wins as an amateur fighter. So he definitely is going to have a very good future ahead of him, as he's only 28 years old. But right now, I don't think it's his time. Mahmoud Fawi Sebie, if you look at his last 2 fights, and one of them being inside a Game Bread Fighting Championship, got a first round of ground upon TKO, first round TKO, and first round TKO. This guy goes out there with amazing wrestling, amazing grappling, and of course, really, really solid ground pound. So we know what's going to happen here. Mahmoud Fawi Sebie is going to go out there, put on the pressure on Ethan Hughes, get his back to the cage, take him down, and ground pound the heck out of him. I honestly think that Mahmoud is going to have the better striking as well. Ethan's got some solid grappling, got some solid striking as well, but I think Mahmoud is the better striker, the better wrestler, the better grappler. Wherever the fight goes, Mahmoud does have the advantage, and I think he gets the fight down and finishes Ethan Hughes with punches in terms of ground pound in the very first round, just like his last 3 wins. So Mahmoud Fawi Sebie by TKO in the very first round. Really good fight in the welterweight division. Newman and Shane O'Shea in the middleweight division right here. Shane O'Shea is coming off a loss in Titan FC. I believe it was for the belt, but he ended up losing that one to Bruno Assis by a submission. Before that, submission win, first knockout, and then another first knockout. So he definitely goes out there with the intent of looking for the finish or getting finished. Most of his losses are finishes, and most of his wins also are finishes. The same thing goes for Newman with 2 knockout wins inside of Bellator right there. 1 decision win, but it was against Joseph Holmes, who we know is a very, very solid guy, fighting on the Dana White Contender Series, and is now almost going to be fighting inside the UFC if he wins that fight. That is the only fight that has gone the distance. It was against a very good grappler in Joseph Holmes. Very, very impressive win there. But if he can beat a guy like Joseph Holmes, take him down, out wrestle, out grapple, and do that to 2 other guys inside of Bellator as well not long after, we know the wrestling's amazing. I mean, you can see the picture right there. He's an amazing wrestler, but his striking from the first fight with Joseph Holmes to the fight right now, his striking has improved exponentially. But of course, we know the grappling and wrestling is where he's going to be looking to get the win. But I would not be surprised if he shows some solid striking on Shane O'Shea as well. But either way, I think in the striking, in the grappling, in the wrestling, he's going to absolutely maul Shane O'Shea. And I do believe, just like his last 2 wins, he will get yet another Sorry, I had a hiccup. Getting another ground on TKO in the first or second round. Really good fight in the middleweight division. Valerie Loureda and Taylor Turner in the women's flyweight division. Not the best record right there. I mean, 5 wins, 7 losses. She is also 38 years old, getting 1 win about 1 month ago, so she's been a little bit active in the last month, of course, but before that, she wasn't really too active. 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I don't know why she took that long of a layoff from those last 2 fights, but she got ground upon TKO'd by Alejandra Lara, got submitted by Ashley Dean, then got 1 win over Hannah Elswick with a 0-3 record right now, so she's not necessarily fighting the best competition, not necessarily beating the best competition. I mean, every single fighter she has fought and beaten has a losing record. I think Heather Hardy might not. Yeah, she has a 22-2 boxing record, but her MMA record is right now 2-2. Literally every single person she's fighting is not legit competition. Now she's going to be fighting an amazing boxer with some decent wrestling mixed in there as well in Valerie Loureda. And Valerie is coming off a loss in her last fight to Hannah Guy, which is a very solid prospect inside of Bellator as well. But this fight, she's younger. She's going to be smaller in terms of height, in terms of reach, but she does do a very good job of closing distance, getting inside of that type of height and reach that Taylor Turner will be having. She's going to close that distance, get in the inside of Taylor, laying some really solid boxing combinations, maybe mixing a takedown or 2 as well. But in the wrestling, I think Valerie has the advantage. In the boxing, I believe Valerie Loureda does have the advantage. The only way I really see Taylor Turner winning this fight is probably going to be like some crazy head kick KO. She's a very tall, very lengthy girl, so she can definitely land that head kick as well. She also does have a couple of submission wins on her record. Again, 0-3, and then 0-3 as well. So she's submitting horrible competition, but she's got decent grappling. But either way, every facet of the game, I do give Valerie Loureda the advantage. I already know Bellator is just pulling some random girl on the regional scene and feeding them to Valerie Loureda to boost that record a little bit. So we know exactly what's going on here, Bellator. So it's an easy win of Valerie Loureda. I'm going to go by a TKO in the first or second round. Really good fight in the women's flyweight division. Cody Law and Colton Hamm in the featherweight division. We already know who I'm going to be picking for the fight, and that is, of course, gonna be Cody Law. 4 wins and 0 losses. 97% of the vote gonna go Cody Law. I believe he's going to be the lengthier fighter, not as much in terms of the height, but he's going to be younger, he's going to have the better record. I believe he had an extensive amateur career as well, 5 wins, every single one of them, not every single one of them being a finish, but 3 of them being finishes with 2 decisions right there. And as a professional inside of Bellator, first round Dars, third round ground upon TKO, decision win on Nathan Garib, and then a first round knockout with the striking. So the striking is also improving. He's got a lot of wins using the rest and getting the fight down and then getting the submission or getting that TKO. But as we saw in the last fight with Theodore Bukuka, the man's got striking as well. Colton Hamm, 28 years old, 4 wins, 3 losses. He's got some solid submission wins on his record. That would probably be the main way he's going to win. Is going to be by submission, but he's also got a lot of losses by knockout. And they haven't been too long ago, back in March, back in January, and then a couple years ago as well. But he's been knocked out quite a lot. 15-second knockout loss, first round knockout loss, and then another first round knockout loss. So I think Bellator knows exactly what they're doing here. Getting a guy that gets finished quite a lot in his fights, either gets to finish or gets finished himself, and they're putting him against a guy like Cody Law to build that undefeated record. They want, by the time Cody Law ends up competing for the belts, they want him to have a 10-0, 11-0, 15-0 crazy record. So they're just feeding them these type of guys that don't really have the best record, coming off a lot of finish losses, just like this guy right here. He's got decent grappling, he's average in the striking, average in the wrestling. Cody Law is nothing like an average fighter. Way better wrestling, way better striking, way better grappling. Domination, easy first round finish right there. I believe the betting odds are probably close to where Cris Cyborg is, to be honest. Let's see if I can find it right here. Minus 2,200. That's crazy, but I don't blame them. I mean, Bellator knows exactly what they're doing. Cody Law is going to absolutely destroy winning this fight. But again, I mean, minus 2,200. You got minus 800 for Jordan Newman. Minus 1,400 for Mahmoud Fawi Sebie. Minus, I don't even know. Minus 1,000 for Roman Faraldo right there. Then you got minus 3,000 in the main event. Every single one of these guys is a humongous favorite. Again, as a guy that just said in the comments about better, avoid betting on Bellator. I probably would agree with that because these odds are absolutely insane. But Cody Law should dominate the fight in the very first round by knockout. Really a fight in the featherweight division. Roman Faraldo and Robert Turnquest in the welterweight division. 38 years old and 28 years old. He's going to be taller. He's going to be lengthier. He's going to be actually the more active fighter because he's fought, let's see right here, 2.5 years. He's fought 5 times and has achieved an undefeated record in the UFC. Second round knockout, first round knockout, second round knockout, and then a first round knockout. Every single one of those fights being a first or second round knockout, whereas his opponent in the same span as he's gotten those 5 wins, Robert Turnquest has 0 fights. He tried to have one fight, like literally a month after that one, in Armia Fight Night 7, Pamiel, Bitwe, Pod, Kokiem, whatever the heck that is, but now he's going to go out there and fight inside of Bellator just out of nowhere. I know Bellator, again, they know exactly what they're doing. Getting a guy that's been finished many times, second round knockout loss right there, third round knockout loss, first round knockout loss, and a second round knockout loss. They're getting a guy that does not have the best chin. It's susceptible. I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to say that word. Let's see, susceptible. I don't know. Able to be knocked out fairly easily. I don't know. Someone remind me how to say that word. I really don't know how to say it for some odd reason. But a guy that gets knocked out quite a lot is definitely going to be a guy like Robert Turnquest. Bellator knows that. They got a guy that's getting a lot of knockouts. Not really against the best competition, but they want to increase the amount of exposure for the highlights in the future of his career. Once he's 11-0, 12-0, fighting in co-main events and things like that, before their fight, they want to show a lot of highlights. Right now, they have 2 highlights in the Bellator scene, both by knockout. They're just trying to crank up more highlights, getting another guy that's been knocked out quite a bit, fighting a guy that knocks out pretty much everything. Roman, his striking is absolutely amazing, really good takedown defense, really solid left hooks, really solid right hooks, really fast, really powerful, really throws a lot of volume as well. There's not really too much bad things I can say for Roman Faraldo right here. So honestly, he's just absolutely dominated the fight. Roman Faraldo by knockout in the first or second round. Easy prediction in the welterweight division. Bruna Ellen and Desiree Yanez in the women's flyweight division. Now, this is one of those fights where it's a very close fight. I don't necessarily know how there's 85% going Ellen to win the fight. She's 5-3 as her professional MMA record. She's got very solid striking. She's a lot faster than Desiree Yanez. Has a little bit more power, throws a little bit more volume, better kicks, better boxing, everything like that. But she doesn't necessarily have the best grappling and wrestling game, coming off that loss to Juliana Velasquez, where she did get out-wrestled and out-grappled. Now, that is Juliana Velasquez. She's an amazing wrestler and grappler, but she's taken about a year and a half off, a year and 9 months, somewhere around that, since her last fight with Juliana Velasquez. I don't necessarily know what she's been doing since then. I don't know if her grappling's got a lot better, her wrestling's got a lot better, but if it has not, it's a way closer fight than the betting odds are making it out to be, because right now it's a -200 plus 160 fight, having Desiree Yanez as a 2-1 underdog. But if you know anything about Desiree Yanez, she loves to go out there, pressure you on the feet, take you down, submit you, ground up on TKO you, submit you. That's just what she's trying to do every single time, is go out there, heavy pressure, take you down, out grapple, out wrestle to a decision or to a submission. Wasn't able to do that, just barely in her last 2 fights against Melissa Martinez, who is a very solid undefeated fighter right there. And then her fight with Veda Ortega was a very solid fighter as well. But overall, it's one of those fights. I mean, Bruna Ellen, I can definitely see her coming out there, defending all the takedowns, keeping the fight on the feet, staying at range, jabbing 1-2 and using her power advantage, using her speed advantage, her technique advantage. Overall, just being the way better striker to win the fight by decision. But I can definitely see Desiree Yanez going out there and out grappling, out wrestling for that decision, or maybe even a submission win. It's a very weird fight to judge on who's going to win the fight. I'm going to slightly go Bruna Ellen to win the fight, but we would not be surprised if we see the upset. Very, very 50-50 fight in my opinion. But I'm going to go Bruna Ellen. I believe that 2-year layoff that she's had, I believe she's definitely going to be working on the wrestling and grappling, because since that, in the time of that 2-year layoff, right before that, she lost a fight due to the wrestling and grappling. So I know she wanted to improve it, make it a lot better for her next fight, and I think that's going to show here, where she's going to defend a lot of Desiree Yanez's takedowns, keep the fight on the feet, and win the fight by decision. A really good fight in the women's flyweight division. Steve Mowry and Rakim Cleveland in the heavyweight division. Rakim Cleveland, 32 and a half years old, a lot smaller, a lot less lengthy than Steve Mowry. 6'3", and he's 77-inch reach. Steve Mowry, crazily 6'8" tall, and then he's 79-inch reach. Absolutely insane. 95% going Mowry to win the fight, mainly by submission. Again, this is a way closer fight. -600 are on the... Sorry, I had a hiccup. Right, -600 are the betting odds right now. That's a very big favor for Steve Mowry. Of course, I am going to be going Steve Mowry to win the fight, but do I think he should be a 6-1 favorite over Rakim Cleveland? No, I do not. It's a way closer fight than that. 9 wins, 0 losses. That's, of course, a very solid record. First round, knees to ground and pound. First round, knees to ground and pound. Second round, Kimura. First round, Kimura. First round, Americana. Second round, TKO. Arm triangle, knockout, and triangle choke submission. Every single win being a finish in the clinch. He's got really good elbows. He's got really good knees, as shown in his last 2 fights. And then on the ground, he's got way better wrestling, way better grappling than Rakim Cleveland. He's beaten some very solid guys. I mean, he beat Gokhan Sarikhan. We just saw absolutely starch Joffrey Holton and Charlie Milner. So we know he's beaten some solid guys. Beating Saeed Salma as well, who we know is doing very good in Bellator. And beating so many other guys as well. So we know the future and the sky is the limit for this guy right here. But it is heavyweight. Anything can happen right here. Rakim Cleveland can definitely win the fight. It's a very close fight in my opinion. Rakim is definitely going to have, in my opinion, the power advantage on the feet. He's a little bit more technical in the striking, a little bit faster in the striking as well. Coming off of 2 knockout wins, one by head kick in the first round in the main event, over there for the B2FS vacant heavyweight belt, and another by second round knockout right there. But yeah, he's lost to a lot of guys due to the wrestling and grappling. That is exactly where Steve Mowry is looking to take the fight. But again, it's definitely one of those fights. I can see Rakim Cleveland going out there, defending the first takedown, and literally just coming forward and throwing really big shots, ending it with a crazy head kick and knocking out Steve Mowry. I can definitely see that happening, but of course, what is the most likely outcome to the fight? It's going to be Steve Mowry going out there, clinching up with Rakim Cleveland, landing some good knees down the middle, getting that takedown, getting on top, ground pounding for a bit, and getting the darts, getting the anaconda, getting the guillotine, getting the rear naked, whatever the case may be. So my prediction, obviously, is going to go Steve Mowry to win the fight by finish due to a submission in the first or second round, but would not be surprised if Rakim Cleveland gets the upset. Very close fight in the heavyweight division. Arlene Blencowe and Pam Sorenson in the women's featherweight division. This is one of those fights where if you're a betting man, you lost a lot of value, because they started off the odds -175, which was absolutely insane, and then everyone hammered on that line, and it went down to -372. I'm definitely going to go Arlene Blencowe to win the fight, but should she be that big of a favorite? I really don't think so. But Arlene Blencowe, she's pretty solid power in her hands. Is a lot more faster of a striker than Pam Sorenson. There's more volume than Pam Sorenson. It's going to be around the same reach, around the same height as well, but she's faster, she's more powerful, there's more volume. Really solid takedown defense. Pam Sorenson's striking just has not impressed me. Every single fight I see from Pam Sorenson, including that last fight with Roberta Paim Samad, that striking was absolute god-awful. Arlene Blencowe is going to absolutely destroy her on the feet. But of course, we know Pam Sorenson can go out there and look to use the wrestling and grappling. She's got an armbar submission win, a heck of a lot of decision wins, and then a grind upon TKO right there. But we know the grappling and wrestling goes Pam Sorenson. We know the striking, the kickboxing, all that type of stuff tough goes Arlene Blencowe. So it is one of those fights where it could go either way, but of course, I'm going to be super confident in Arlene Blencowe winning. She should definitely go out there, dominate the fight on the feet, bloody up Pam Sorenson. Pam Sorenson is going to look really, really bad after the fight in terms of facial features, but I don't think she's going to get finished. I don't know the last time that Pam Sorenson has been finished. She got submitted by Felicia Spencer. That was about it. But she's never been knocked out in her professional MMA career. I take that back. In her amateur MMA career, she did get knocked out. But I don't see this being a knockout type of fight. I see Arlene Blencowe, Pam Sorenson striking for 3 straight rounds. And just a way better striker in Arlene Blencowe winning the fight by a decision right there. Really good fight in the women's featherweight division. Aaron Pico and Justin Gonzales in the featherweight division. This is one of those. I mean, we have a 12-0 guy right here in Justin Gonzales, coming off of winning against Taiwan Claxton, beating a lot of guys on the regional scene as well in the main event of LFA 84, beating Jake Childers in the 4th round. Jake Childers being a Dana White Contender Series type of guy. Never mind. I'm thinking of another guy, but yeah, he's fought inside of the LFA a lot, only losing to Kanan Kawhi, a Dana White Contender Series guy, and then Justin Gonzales right there. But get a lot of other solid wins other than those two. Zach Zane on Contender Series, Bruna Ferreira by first round knockout, Drew Brokenshire, and Derek Brennan right there is also another solid win. Sorry, that is also another very solid win, and Nick Rhodes. So, in his career so far, he's not really going out there fighting tuna cans. Of course, he started out with like 3 tuna cans, then he fought a 3-0 guy, 10-3, 6-0, 2-3, not too good, 8-9, or 18-9, 8-2, 12-8, 8-0, and then 6-3. He's not fighting bad competition by any means. But if you compare this competition right here to a guy like Aaron Pico is taking on the murderous row of the featherweight division inside of Bellator, losing his first fight in the promotion to Zach Freeman by a guillotine choke submission, literally only 24 seconds in. But after that, coming off with a 4-fight win streak, knocking out Justin Lin in the very first round, Shane Crushton in the very first round. That's a very solid win, knocking out Lee Morrison in the very first round. Another solid win. I believe this guy fought on the Ultimate Fighter. If I'm not getting that right, I might be mistaken. No, he did not fight in the Ultimate Fighter. I must have thought of someone else. But you also be Leandro Higo, who we do know is coming off a very solid win over Ricky Bandejas and Darion Caldwell. He knocked the man out in the very first round. Also fought Henry Corrales and then Adam Boris. 2 very, very solid guys at featherweight. Knocking out Daniel Carey, really solid kickboxing type of guy there. Submitting Solo Haley Jr., knocking out John DeJesus, and then knocking out AD Lee. So he's fighting way, way better competition than Justin Gonzales, in my opinion, and he's finishing literally every single one of them. Every loss on here is a finish. Every single win on here is a finish. So you know exactly what's going to happen here. Either Aaron Pico goes out there, comes forward with a heavy, heavy pressure, gets inside of that little hide and reach advantage, and gets that uppercut knockout, overhand right knockout on Justin Gonzales, or he uses that striking to kind of scare him up on the top and go down low for the double leg takedown, get on top and grind up on TKO him, or maybe ends up submitting Justin Gonzales. But overall, I think on the feet, he'll end up knocking out Justin Gonzales as he's getting his back to the cage, and on the ground, he's going to be way better in wrestling, way better in grappling, and I think he submits him or grind up on TKOs him. Wherever the fight goes, on the feet, on the grappling, in the wrestling, in the kickboxing, every facet of the game, I am going to go Aaron Pico, but Justin Gonzales is legit. He's a good kickboxer, got solid wrestling and grappling as well, but I think pretty much everything, Justin Gonzales is good, but I think Aaron Pico just slightly edges out Justin Gonzales in every facet of the game, in my opinion. Aaron Pico by knockout in the very first round. So I'm gonna go second round. I think Justin Gonzales will last at least the first round, so I'm going to go second round knockout win for Aaron Pico right there. Really good fight in the featherweight division. Tyrell Fortune and Linton Vassell in the heavyweight division, the co-main events for Bellator 271. Cyborg versus Kavanagh. This is going to be a good one. 31 years old and 38 years old, a little bit taller, and a heck of a lot lengthier is Linton Vassell by 5 inches, and then 2 inches in height right there. We know Linton Vassell, the main way he loses his fights is if his opponent is able to land the takedown. We saw in the fight with Ryan Bader. Ryan Bader got the fight down and ended up out-grappling, out-wrestling him. Valentin Moldovsky out-wrestled, out-grappled him, and many, many other guys. Emmanuel Newton submitted him. So the main way you're going to beat a tall, lengthy kickboxing type of guy in Linton Vassell is, of course, go out there, big shots on the feet, get him in the back of the cage, double leg him, ground up on him, look for the TKO, look for a dominant decision. And who do we have fighting Linton Vassell that kind of matches all those criteria? It's going to be none other than, it's going to be none other than Tyrell Fortune with 11 wins and 1 loss. First round submission to strikes against Matt Mistrione. Absolutely insane. First round TKO on Jack May. Decision win on Saeed Salma, which is really looking very good. Now that Saeed Salma just came off a win over a solid guy in Vasily Minikov. If you look at some other wins right there, Zuna Aniwadu, if I'm saying that one correctly, Rudy Shafarov, and the only loss coming to Tim Johnson, a guy that I believe just fought for the belt against Fedor Emelianenko, or it was just the main event. I don't think it was for the belt though. But yeah, this is the only loss as a professional MMA fighter is against Tim Johnson. Very, very impressive. But of course, I can see Linton Vassell going out there defending a lot of takedowns, landing a crazy head kick or something as it goes in for the takedown, landing a really good right hook or something on Tyrell Fortune and knocking him out. Very, very likely we see that happening because he does have a lot of finishes on his record, 9 submissions and then 8 knockout wins. So we can definitely see that happening, but I do think that Tyrell Fortune will be able to get his back to the cage, land that takedown, and ground upon TK. Linton Vassell is very tough. I'm going to go with decision win right here. I don't know. He's been TKO'd by Ryan Bader, Phil Davis, got submitted by Emmanuel Newton, but I don't know. I have a feeling this one's going to go all the way. He survived Valentin Moldovsky, which is very, very surprising in my opinion. But he did that. If he can survive Valentin, I think he should be able to survive Tyrell Fortune. I don't know. It could go either way. I'm going to go Tyrell Fortune by decision. I can definitely see a TKO, but I'm going to go Tyrell Fortune out there going for the takedowns, getting the fight down, and grappling and wrestling. But again, and we know Linton Vassell is a very, very live dog right here, as he's got very, very good striking. We know Tyrell Fortune's only loss is a knockout to Tim Johnson. Same thing can happen here, but I think Tyrell dodges that punch, throws some big shots, takedown, and then gets a decision right there. Really good fight in the heavyweight division. Cris Cyborg and Sinead Kavanagh in the featherweight division. I'm going to go Cris Cyborg by knockout. Thanks for watching the video. Like the video, subscribe. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. That's not all I'm going to say right here, but you guys know what I'm going to say. Come on. Cris Cyborg is going to win the fight. It's fairly obvious. The champion of Bellator, a former champion over there inside of the UFC, only losing to Amanda Nunes and one other girl a very long time ago in Erica Pace. That is the only 2 girls that ever beat Cris Cyborg. Other than that, you look right here, 19 knockouts, 4 decisions, and then 1 submission win right there. I don't really remember the last time she's gotten a decision. I mean, yeah, Felicia Spencer was 1 decision. Holly Holm was a decision right there. But yeah, those are the only decision wins I've seen her have. But again, Felicia Spencer fight, I believe that was a 3-round fight against Holly Holm. That was probably a 5-round fight. Yeah, that was a 5-round fight, but it's against Holly Holm. Very, very tough opponent. But against Sinead Kavanagh, I think she will finish her. I mean, Sinead Kavanagh got one stoppage loss to Janae Harding. Split decision loss to Arlene Blencowe, but if you're getting a split decision loss to Arlene Blencowe, losing to Leslie Smith, 2 girls that Cris Cyborg absolutely mauled in the last fight, TKOing Leslie Smith, and then submitting Arlene Blencowe, finishing Julia Budd, beating Yana Kunitskaya, Holly Holm, Tanya Evinger, Leslie Smith again, all of these girls. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Sinead Kavanagh. It's a very easy prediction. I don't know. I don't know if Cris Cyborg is going to go over to PFL, maybe go back to the UFC, but all these new girls coming out in featherweight inside of Bellator, I don't really give them too much of a shot. Cris Cyborg by knockout. I'm gonna go the third round. I do believe Cindy Kavanagh is a very tough girl. She'll survive for a while. Third round TKO win for Cris Cyborg right there. Really good fight in the featherweight division. But yeah, that is my full card prediction for Bellator 271. Cyborg versus Kavanagh. I got Cyborg by knockout. Fortune by a decision. Pico by knockout, Blencowe decision, Mowry submission, Ellen decision, Faraldo knockout, Cody Law TKO or submission, Valerie Loureda is very 50-50 on a decision or knockout, Jordan Newman. It's tough. I'm going to go with decision on that one. Mahmoud Fawi Sebie inside the distance. So those are my full card prediction. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and everything like that. And we'll see you in the next one. Let's go.